Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Live with Brink of Speed and Octane Hour. Hope everybody's doing great tonight.
Can it start? Are we on?
I think we're on.
All right, very good. We've had some problems the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Not us, but with YouTube and internet, right? But hopefully let us know if you can hear us and if you're seeing us.
Yeah, exactly. So tonight we're talking about say goodbye to Zora and hello to ZR1X. GM's HyperVette is now here. So how is
I'm not happy about that. I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
Well, yeah, we know why you're not happy.
Why? What?
Because you weren't wanting a ZR1.
Well,
you're wanting the X to melt.
Yes, I wanted the X to stand. My wife thinks that GM might lose a sale on my crossover vet here. So,
crap.
Hello, everybody.
Great.
Kerry, Randall, Derek, Tony.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Shiny Fenders is on. Nice. Darren is on. Welcome.
Hey,
Randall
Darren.
Swanson. Let's see. We've got, I think Poopy 1 is on as well. Larry Anthony is on.
Poopy
welcome.
was the first one here.
Oh, nice.
Poopy was the first.
Butch Winslow's on.
Yep.
Tony is on.
Well, this is good.
Yeah, this is a great Ron Jackson.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Very good.
All right, guys, so let's see what happens when I go to this page.
Uh-oh.
We've got a poor connection right now, but
Don't switch anything, Mike. Don't do it.
let's see what happens.
Don't do it.
Let's see what happens.
This is the thing.
I know. Well, it seems to be a coincidence. All right, so you guys know we are brought to you by the NCM Insurance Company. They are the best, in my opinion, and a lot of people's on here as well, collectible car insurance that you can buy out there. And your collectible car does not have to be a Corvette. It can be any of the above: Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, BMW. It can be any of those. As long as, well, they're already going to know you qualify from that email, but they will give you rates at that time, and you'll know whether you're going to save money or not. But there's quite a few people on here I know that are using them. You're going to save from hundreds of dollars every year to thousands of dollars every year. So you should definitely give them a try for sure.
Yeah, repeat the question.
Have any of you noticed that on the comments of these ZR1X videos that there are no comments like what you saw on the E-Ray, where all of a sudden people were instantly talking about how it was garbage. It's a full EV. We don't want electric in Vet.
Where do you plug it in?
Where do you plug it? You know, all of these comments, and still to this day, there's negative E-Ray comments. But the ZR1X comes out, and there's none of those comments. Does it maybe have anything to do with two simple facts? Number one, they didn't mention E anywhere in that presentation. And number two, it has 1,250 horsepower. Do you think maybe that has anything to do with it? It's like it is a hypercar now. I don't know, but it is a little bit interesting how the E-Ray came out. It got all of this bad publicity, all of this bad, you know, all these comments that were hateful and spiteful and you name it. And now the ZR1X is like, oh, it's the most amazing thing in the world.
You know what Supercar Ranch says? He's brilliant. And they changed the name of the E-Ray to the X-Ray.
Yeah, there you go. It's perfect.
Oh, my God, that's so good.
Or Grand Sport Hybrid.
Well, right. Exactly. 100% correct.
Supercar Ranch, you're brilliant, man. You should work for GM.
Seriously, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say
X-Ray.
I think that GM may rename the E-Ray. And if they did, it would be genius, because right now it just has the wrong connotation and people just have a bad attitude towards it, and they don't have a bad attitude towards the ZR1X. Can you imagine, though, if they would have called it the ZR1E like was predicted, you know, a few months ago, which would have been fine with me as far as, like, I don't care the name of it. But can you imagine? It instantly would have had a bad rep online where people are like, oh, I hate it. It's an electric car.
I don't drive those electric cars.
I guarantee you, if you dig through the old files when this thing was in pre-production, they were going to call it ZR1E.
Well, right.
And they probably, they're like, oh no,
Well,
Not
was
again.
it seriously? As soon as what happened with the E-Ray happened, they learned their lesson. I think instantly and decided, okay, we're not putting E in the front or the rear of any ICE controlled car. We're not going to use E until it truly is E only. And that's smart because
maybe not even call it that. Call it something else. But
I don't know.
E seems to be like the death knell.
It does.
The bullet,
It
the
really
silver
does.
bullet that gets it. But but
So
you know,
anyway.
Rick Conti was showing on his early order guide somewhere that
Yeah.
actually we're calling it the 01E.
I know, but that was in their system.
In their system. So Rob is right in that they literally to the last minute
did.
had it 01E.
Yeah.
And last minute they said, we better change this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are
So,
correct.
wow.
And when we go over what we're going to go over a little bit later, it's actually not going to be too much later. But when we go over what we go over about why it wasn't named the Zora, you'll find out very quickly that the X means nothing.
And Keith says he thinks the 01E was an internal code, and it probably was the internal code, but they were probably thinking they're going to call this the 01E, and they heard all the, maybe it was at the bash when we were all talking
Maybe.
about the, but
Well, yeah, but I also think it had to do
he
with,
just heard it.
I really do still believe that Harlan Charles may have lost his job because of the E-Ray. That might not have been all of it, but that was like the tipping point where they were like, all right, the E-Ray has completely failed as far as the marketing standpoint of that car.
Yep.
So we need to get rid of the guy that came up with that whole idea as far as the name of that car.
Yeah.
So I really do believe that they learned very quickly after the E-Ray, we can't do that ever again.
Yep.
Until, like I said, maybe it's a full EV car.
Yeah, which, again, that's very unfortunate because, Harlan if that was the case of why he got terminated, he got wrapped in a cloak he didn't create. The E thing, again, this goes back to the Volt. I mean, and even the EV1, if you really want to take it back history. But, at the end of the day, people are out. Most people, again, I'll say this as an automotive car guy, the electric cars is a niche. It's not going to be a mainline thing until they invent fusion, and they can go 1,000 miles and only take 10 minutes to get them charged again. I mean, it's not going to be a thing. It's going to be a niche.
Yep.
And it sucks because still to this day, I still have people think the E-Ray is electric. That
I know.
still continues.
And they probably would have thought the
It
same
is a
thing about the
hybrid.
01.
Yeah, they would have.
That's
They
your
would've-
point, Mike.
Yeah,
that's
they
your
would have
point.
thought
Yep.
the same thing.
Yeah, and again, it's too late now, but the E-Ray should have just been the Grand Sport. They should have just called the Grand Sport, fed off that heritage. It would have been a fourth generation Grand Sport, and
I love it.
Just
the
went with
X-Ray.
that. I think everything would have been fine. It just would have
Well,
said it's a
yeah.
hybrid.
Actually, one of the guys at the bash made the statement, and as soon as he made the statement, I was like, you're 100% correct. And that is, if they would have just called the E-Ray the Grand Sport and said it was a high-performance all-wheel drive Grand Sport, that car would have sold better than any Stingray.
Wow.
It would have been the top seller for 2024.
Because it kind of fits in that right? It's
Well,
the
it's a
wide
Grand
body.
Sport. Everybody knows the name.
It's the wide
Nobody
body,
would
yeah.
have thought of, it's got E in the name.
Z06
Say that
with
again.
Z06 with front electric motor would be the sweet spot for KC Aviator.
Yeah. And, of course, that would be the best of both worlds because you would have the LT6 high-revving, amazing-sounding, engine, plus you would have that high-pitch, whine from the front motor.
Yeah.
And even if they left it at 160 horsepower, that would put you at, 830 horse? So, yeah. I mean, that would be phenomenal.
And you call the Z06E.
Or X.
No.
You know?
Yeah, the Z06E.
That would be really cool. Now, hey, I would not put it
Maybe
past.
that's the Grand Sport? Or no.
Well, hey, just a little guilty pleasure for other Chevrolet vehicles, GM. We need a ZR2X so the TRX and Raptor R guys can
that'd be
finally
cool.
be quiet.
Yeah.
That
That would be cool.
a Meteor, killed the
Sound
dinosaurs.
is amazing.
The sound, the sound would be amazing. And, where was I going with that?
Well, just that the Z06 with that would be a pretty good, and
Not pretty good. It would be the best of all worlds.
And would that be?
And you wouldn't need. I mean, obviously, the more horsepower, the better to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to have that platform with the front motor, it would just be. They would sell like crazy, you know. But I don't think I don't think that's what the Grand Sport is. But what I was going to say is I do believe that we could see something like that because of the fact that we have a few years left. And I thought, along with a lot of other people, that we weren't going to see whatever the Zora was going to be, which is the ZR1X, until like 27. Now they're saying it's a 26.
Yeah.
So they're kind of moving these things along really fast as far as like showing us them. Now, getting them out to the public, they're not moving fast.
Getting them out with high wings is another thing.
Right.
Right.
So since they're bringing out the ZR1 for 25, the ZR1X for 26, who knows? We may get something along with the Grand Sport. You know, the Grand Sport might come out next year in 27. Then we might get something else in 28, and then 29 might be the SUV.
Yep.
So I could see a Z06X maybe in 28. Who knows?
All right.
Anyway, so before we get to the main subject, let's go over a couple of things here. First being that you can now go back to the plant and
look at it from the outside. What are you talking about?
Now, plant tours.
They're going to have plant tours again.
Yep. And I'm showing you the dates right now.
You're kidding me.
I'm not. So they are opening up the plant for plant tours the week of August 11th, which is good because that's before Carlisle.
Yeah.
Then the week of August 25th, which will not be good because that's the week of Carlisle. And then the week of November 10th, but you will not be able to go on the 11th. So I'm not sure if it's just 7 days before the 10th, and then it ends on the 10th. I think that's probably what they're saying there.
Huh.
But you can start book sometimes on this. But it's all good. All right, Keith, thank you for putting this out. I also put a video out about this, but the ZR1, Z06, and ZR1X, now that we know what it's called, are at the Nürburgring. And they've been there for quite a while now. They're going to be there for a total of, I think, 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks with a little tiny break. They had to take a break during the 24 hours of Le Mans and then like the 12 hours, I think, of Nürburgring race. But other than that, they're there, we believe, to set lap records. And it's not just us, the media, that believes that. It's actually the people out at the Nürburgring capturing these pictures and videos of these cars at the Nürburgring because of the talk that happens at the Nürburgring during this time. This is called, I always forget the name of these 3 weeks, but it's called, it's right here on the article, the Industry Pool Testing Week. So, we believe that they're out there to actually set records. And maybe we'll get something for the Z06, but I don't know about you. I don't really care about the Z06 record. I would much rather see the ZR1 and ZR1X hit crazy low times there. And the more I think about it with the ZR1X, at first I was thinking that car is going to be too heavy to be as fast as the ZR1 out on the Nürburgring. But now I've changed my mind after reading what GM stated about the ZR1X and the different modes they have for the track. I really think that they are going to set the fastest lap with that car.
So you think the X is going to be faster than the regular ZR1?
I do.
Because I think last show you were thinking it's going to be a little heavier.
Right.
And it's not going to be able to do that long 7-minute track.
But I think it's going to do it, and I believe that we are going to get at least second fastest time on the ring by a production car. I don't think they can catch that 6 minute and 28 second or 27 second time by the AMG 1. I just don't think that's going to happen.
They should call it the AMG 3 because it's $3 million, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's called the 1 because it's
It's one car you can't buy.
No. It has to do with the engine. It has to do with the engine. It's called a 1 because it's 1 horsepower per every
tread on the tire.
No. It's all to do with the engine. Help me out, guys. Help me out in the comments.
Fine.
Anyway, that's why it's called the 1. So I do think that we will see the
there
we go.
Keith Cornett said he asked Josh Holder about it, and they said that the track the ZR1X just might be a little bit faster, So that's.
I think it will be because of the fact that it can come out of the corners faster. It can put the power down because it's got the front wheels pulling it out of the corner and not allowing the rear end to slip.
You got the weight of it too, so
that's why also they put those even bigger J59 brakes on there, like
that are
that surprised me. That's the first time they've changed the designation of those ceramics.
It doesn't surprise me because of the fact that look at what they did with the E-Ray.
Right.
They put the biggest carbon ceramic brakes on the E-Ray as standard. So they did the same thing for the ZR1X. So that it had the greatest stopping power because it's the heaviest out of the variants.
Right. Yeah. But also just the fact that the fact they even did that means they were thinking track focus though. Well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they could have probably went with the J57s that are on it, but they decided to go even bigger, which means they're thinking we need better performance even than what we're getting.
And for 2026, you can get the J59s on the ZR1.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes.
Nice.
So I believe that, like I was saying, I think we're going to see either the second best time or third best time from the ZR1X. It is definitely going to get it out of the corner faster. It'll get to its top speed a lot faster as well because the front motor pulls it all the way to 160 miles an hour.
Well, that's the thing. Dwayne is asking the question, doesn't the electric engine cut off at a speed of like 160?
Yeah, but most of the Nürburgring, you're going to be going around that speed for that ZR1X. On the long straights, they'll be going way faster than 160, but look, it's going to get to 160 way faster than the ZR1.
Yes.
So that's the point.
Yep, and it will get to 233.
I would think so, that it'll get to 233, but you never know.
Well, a little added weight, it'll probably, even if it is a little bit on there, so now that be, again, as a buyer decision. Like if you're chasing, you have to have that top speed, you're going to go for the non-ZTK base CR1. You're not going to, if you're chasing max, whereas the ZR1X full setup is going to be the maximum track chase.
Correct.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah, and the maximum, well, I guess the ZR1X low profile spoiler is going to be the best for like a drag strip.
Right. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. They're all going to have their perks. Exactly. Yeah, that's cool. I actually like having this diversity.
It is very cool. I see some issues, though, we'll talk about in a little bit. But back to the Nürburgring, again, if they provide us with a Z06 time, I really think we'll see if they truly get out there and hustle and don't hit traffic and don't have any bad weather and they get a true good time, I think we will see a low 650 time in the Z06. I believe it could happen with that car. I don't know if I believe the fifth gear thing that Sport Auto talked about. So that's going to happen. The ZR1, I believe, is going to also hit a really great time out on the ring. Probably, like I've said from the very beginning, mid 640s, if not low 640s. And then the ZR1X, we could see even lower than that. I think we could maybe see a 630s, but just not in the 620s at all.
I'm just glad they did what they never did with the C7 that they're doing now is they rented the track out.
Right. They never had enough time, right?
Again,
they never had enough.
For those that don't know, we never got an official time at all whatsoever with the C7 ZR1. And the only C7 Z06 numbers were done by third parties. And,
well, just to be clear, they haven't rented it out all to themselves.
No. Okay? They were in traffic the whole time.
No, I'm saying this time. Yeah. They have not rented it out all to themselves.
Also, there's still
traffic. They are there, I believe, where only manufacturers are allowed on the track. So you're not going to have normal everyday Joes allowed on the track.
Okay.
It's only manufacturers allowed on the track.
Okay, so unless
So
they get
that's
unless they get a real road hog on there, we should have at least a clean result. Okay.
Well, but you got to remember that the manufacturers are really good about pulling over and letting the faster cars go by. So I don't think they'll have that issue. As long as they have good weather, I think they're going to be fine.
All right, yeah, because that was the controversy with that C701. I mean, he's literally in traffic.
Yes.
You can't get around anybody. It's
And
like,
he
I'm
also
gonna break a
hit
record
weather, too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times where he was hitting rain in certain sections.
Yeah.
It's cold, I think.
I mean, it's a 13-mile track, so it could be
right.
raining over there, but not over here.
Right, yeah.
So as long as they have good weather, the whole track, and, you know, they don't have much traffic, and the traffic they do have moves over because they know they're trying to set a record, I think we'll be fine.
And truthfully, in reality, and look, I know everybody loves the Nürburgring for what it is, but I think this is why VIR is truly the real test track. That's just me, you know.
But here's what I was going to say. We're, you know, kind of just finishing our discussion about the Nürburgring. This is the way I feel about Nürburgring. Chevrolet has put all of this time, effort, and money into this new mid-engine Corvette platform. And now it's very obvious that they've done it for a huge reason, and that is to basically take on the entire world of super exotic and hypercars, okay? So when you start doing things like that, they never did that before. They would just say, hey, our Corvette is just as good as, you know, some of your supercars. Now they're saying our Corvette is way better than your supercars, and it's comparative. You can compare it to most hypercars. So when they start getting in that company, that type of company, they have to do the same as that type of company does, and that is market your car correctly. And the way that those companies market their car is taking it to the ultimate test. The ultimate test is not VIR. VIR is not 13 miles of all sorts of different types of turns, hills, and surfaces. That's what the Nürburgring is. You have, I don't remember how many different types of surfaces, but lots of different types of surfaces that your tires grip differently on. Plus, you have all sorts of types of turns, all types of elevation changes. It is the true ultimate test of whether a car is truly the very best of the best. So for them to be able to prove that they are the very best of the best, to me, my opinion, they have to do this.
And it's the name, Nürburgring. Everybody knows that.
They can't
and that's like,
shrug this off the way that they used to be able to shrug it off and just say, we don't care about that anymore. They have to care now.
No, agreed.
That's the bragging rights of
like
having
a
Nürburgring, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Like I said, just over I guess my frustration has been over the years just the things with the traffic and noise ordinances and some of those silliness I've heard come out of there. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It seemed like they were really trying to keep American cars from setting records, and that was just me.
And it was always hard for Chevy to do Nürburgring because they have to trailer.
No,
their
it really
cars
could
over
be
there,
that.
right?
I wouldn't put that past them, but again, Chevrolet hasn't been as serious as they are now. So.
And it was always very difficult for them to go over there. You got to ship cars over there.
But they had the money.
And people, and they have the money, but, Porsche could just drive down the street.
Yeah.
Let's go to Nürburgring, right?
Yeah. They have their own station there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And yes, Mr. Corvette, amen to that. Yes.
So I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. Kerry Glock, you are 100% correct. It is the standard, and that's exactly what they need to go off of. Real quick before we go to the next segment, please smash that thumbs up button. It really helps YouTube know that you're enjoying this, and it really helps support the channel. So
there you go.
All right. We are going to go to...
There's a couple people on here with a C7 ZR1.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kerry Glock is on here.
Kerry
with the
Dwayne.
I'm sorry, not Kerry Glock.
Dwayne.
Doug Hooks is on,
Doug.
I believe. And he has the C701.
Yep.
All right, guys. This Dream Car giveaway is coming to an end in 20 days. So just wanted to go over it with you briefly again. It is an amazing, amazing giveaway. You're getting a brand new 2025 Z06 and a 2015, I believe, or 2016 Z06. And the Z06 is actually a Lingenfelter Z06 with over 700 horsepower to the rear wheels. Plus, they're giving you $51,000 to pay for taxes. So if you win this, you're going to win both cars plus $51,000. And because you are a Brink of Speed watcher, you're getting triple entries. If you scroll down here, once you start buying tickets at $25, you can buy tickets for $3 and $10. But once you start buying at $25, you get the triple entries. So click on one of these, buy your tickets, fill out the information, and, get entered to win. I take that back. That Z06 is a 2024 Z06.
2024 Z06.
Yeah. So.
Very good.
Oh, you know what? I am so sorry. That's not a Z06. It's an E-Ray.
Oh, is it really?
It's an E-Ray.
Oopsie.
Yeah, I looked down and I'm like, wait a minute. This is not a Z06. It's an E-Ray. So sorry about that, guys. You're actually going to win a 2024 E-Ray and a 2015, I believe, Z06. Let's see. What year does it say it is?
Lingenfelter Stage 1.
Yeah, for some reason it's not saying what year it is. Let me click on here just so I can get you guys the details.
Joe Lamb is on.
I mean, not that
Super
it matters, but yeah, it's a 2015. A C7 Z06 is a C7 Z06, especially with it Lingenfeltered up. So sorry about that. It is an E-Ray, not a Z06. All right, Vanna White.
Oh, is it
Before
time
before we get to the main subject. Actually, we have one more before we get to the main subject, but we have this to go over. I'll let you get up there and get your...
Put my mic just in case I start talking.
Yeah, you're not going to not start talking.
No, I know. I can't stop me from talking. What do we have here?
All right, guys, so Wheelcraft.
Oh, look at this.
We are also brought to you by Wheelcraft. So
Look at these wheels.
they're beautiful.
Yes.
If you want chrome wheels on your Stingray, Z06, E-Ray, ZR1, ZR1X, Wheelcraft is the company for you. You can get your OEM wheels chromed. It's a PVD process. The brand new process that he just started using is even shinier than it was before. It comes with a 5-year warranty for chips, scratches, you name it. It's on there. If your wheel gets screwed up, ship it back to them. They'll ship you a new one.
They
but
chrome the barrels. Look at that.
Yeah, they chrome the barrels.
Everything is chromed, like compared to a...
Let me go back to this so they can see it even better because I've got the little camera showing them. But you guys saw the website. Go on there, hit contact, get a quote. Ed is awesome. He's the owner. You can contact him. I'm sure there's people on this live stream right now that'll tell you they've dealt directly with Ed and loved their process. If you're getting a car delivered to the museum, you can actually have these delivered to the museum and installed right there on your car. But if you don't have that option and you just want them on your car, he will ship you 4 wheels. You put them on, put your old wheels back in the box. There's already labels. He's showing you the return labels right in the box.
Right there in the box.
Ship them back to him and you're done. And it's anywhere from $1,300 to $1,700 for these wheels. So if you're not one to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on brand new wheels, this is your option. Especially if you
$1,000. They ship the darn wheels.
yeah, especially if you're a chrome person.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Makes the stock wheel look so cool.
and I know there's people on this live stream that have those on their cars and just love them. You guys have seen my videos of them too. So all right, let's go ahead.
Sorry, General Lee. God willing.
What did he say?
I keep playing lotto tickets and giveaways.
We have a gentleman that won a Z06 on here, right? So
We do. He's on is Butch Winslow. Yeah.
Very good.
All right. So the last thing before we get to the main subject, why Chevy didn't use Zora's name for the new ZR1X.
Why Why didn't they use Zora's name?
Let me get to that article. For some reason, that article dropped, so let me get to that real quick. And
the article likes to drop.
Where's Jeff?
Yeah, it's annoying that it does that
Where's
sometimes.
Keith?
Keith's the one that wrote the article. Well, he put the article
Yeah.
up.
Well, here, while you're getting that, everybody be sure to smash that thumbs up button, please. The more, the merrier. Really helps us out. Looks like our internet glitching has been done. It's been going pretty well for a little bit, so let's keep it going.
All right, so I'm clicking on the article.
Also, here, while we're hitting it, everybody hit X in the comments for the ZR1. Yeah. I'm wearing a shirt for a reason today, because you know what? God, it makes me so happy.
It's really great
Oh,
times
it's so
right
sick.
now. We're
I love it.
living in some phenomenal Corvette times.
Oh, yeah.
Does everybody know why I'm wearing my shirt?
Yeah, it's for the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm celebrating the Corvette win at the 24-hour Le Mans. They came on podium win, third place.
Hey,
so
that's not a win. That's third.
That they won the podium.
Yeah,
it's bronze. It's
Bronze.
Still
Yeah,
win.
so they won the bronze. So
I hear
that
you.
was awesome that Corvette did that. So
all right, so I'm glad that Keith put this up, and it was just put up today because I hadn't even heard this, and you know I was kind of sad that the ZR1X didn't get called the Zora, but it also helps clear up something else. Actually, two other things. I believe this article clears up whether this is going to be a checkbox for the ZR1 or not. I believe this says that it's not going to be a checkbox. So when you go and order a 2026 ZR1, you're not going to be able to go, I want the ZR1X instead. It's going to be a separate ordering for a ZR1X. It's not going to be a checkbox. So I think that's number one. Number two is it also lets us know why. I lost my train of thought. It lets us know why it wasn't going to be called a Zora, but there's one more thing. So while I'm trying to think of that last thing, let's just tell you why it's not going to be called the Zora. So they didn't want the ZR1 to compete with the
name of Zora.
Well, they didn't want it to compete with any other car that would be supposedly better than the ZR1. So they very quickly decided that they were going to call it something along the lines of ZR1.
Okay.
Because if they called it a Zora and it was better, which this ZR1X is better, obviously, in multiple ways, then their highest level of Corvette would no longer be ZR1. And they didn't want that to change.
So they wanted to use ZR1 in the name of the
Correct.
of the upgraded model, and like Keith is saying, it's not a checkbox; it will be its own model,
Right.
like you said.
So the other thing, real quick before I forget, the other piece of this is this also shows us that there will not be a better version than the ZR1X. There's still people out there speculating, oh, there's still going to be a car called the Zora. It's going to be all electric. It's going to have 1,400 horsepower, or it's going to be hybrid with 1,400 horsepower. No, that is not correct. And that is another reason why Taj said what he said, which was the ZR1 is going to be the most expensive variant in the C8 lineup. And he was telling the truth because it's still a ZR1. It just has X behind it, and it's all-wheel drive, and it is going to be the most expensive.
In plain sight, it was like the
Yeah, it was in
like
plain
the
sight.
split window of the
Right.
of the ZR1. It was there for us to see in the racing cars.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and Taj said we're not going to have. He basically said we're not going to have a Zora.
Well,
Right.
And they also made a point in the article, reading it, that you know it's counterintuitive because Zora didn't like the split window.
True. Very true.
But it also, since the C4, what did they always refer to the ZR1 as? Zora Race 1. Now, they didn't say that in the article, but in Corvette culture, Zora, it would, if you think about it, Zora Race 1 Zora. It'd just be kind of silly.
But if they would have just called it Zora without ZR1, it wouldn't have been that. It just would have been Zora.
Yeah, but
So is it still disappointing that they didn't call it Zora? Yes, it is. I think that it would have been really great to have had a car, one of the Corvettes called a Zora. And you know what? They still might be able to do that with just a lesser version.
The decal package.
No, they could have done it. They could do it with instead of what we think is going to be called the Grand Sport, maybe they call that the Zora. I don't know. But they weren't going to do it with this. Another thing in this article, I've already switched off of it, but obviously all this stuff is linked in the description below, so you can click on it and read it. Another part of this article states that the X means nothing. There's no explanation of why they went with X. The thing that I find a little interesting about that X is if you compare it to the social media X, the X's look identical. Have you noticed that?
It looks very similar, yeah.
They're very, very similar. Have you seen that? So I'm wondering, this is just speculation, I'm wondering if they're going to get a call from Elon Musk, because unless maybe they already cleared it with him, I don't know, but it looks pretty much identical to the XX.
Yep. Interesting.
So it's interesting that they went with X. You know, they could have gone with any letter there. I like X because it does remind me of Extreme.
I still stand by the argument I said last live. They should have just called it a Super Sport. So.
ZR1 SS.
Well, what they could have done is
Either
ZR1
an SS, yes.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That would have been really...
Because at the end of the day, SS always, just like ZR1, SS in the regular lineup was considered the pinnacle of ultimate performance.
Right.
So here you have the two pinnacle identities for the Corvette and the regular Chevy lineup.
One of the comments here says, "Isn't X for the 4-wheel drive?"
Well, and there's another
like an X.
Good point.
There's another thing about X, and I talked about this on my last video, and that is if you look at Ferrari, Ferrari uses XX for their top race version of whatever that car is. So the latest thing is the Ferrari SF90 XX.
They actually call it XX?
Yeah.
Really? That's part of the really? Yeah. Okay.
And it gets
there you go.
It gets lighter.
Double X.
It has a better suspension. It has more aero for downforce, and it has a little bit more power. So
they're going to just start adding X's like the Ferrari, said Lego.
You know, that's another thing that I thought, but that didn't come true. So it doesn't matter, but that could have been something that they used the X for. They just decided not to. All right. I've just noticed that we're running out of time, and we actually have a trivia again tonight before we even get to the main subject.
Are you sure you want to do that?
I am sure I want to do that.
Or do you want to do that or go right to our... Okay.
Let's do the trivia.
All right.
This is something that I think all of you guys are going to really enjoy. I still haven't gotten it to the point where I want to get it to. I've got to meet with my website guy and get that down, but I wasn't able to do that. So let's just go with what we've got. We're going to have... This time we're going to have Mark leave first.
Oh, I'm going to leave first?
You're going to leave.
Rob,
so you get out of here.
Rob, you're going down, baby.
And Rob is going
none of
first.
this tie anymore. You're going down.
Let's not waste any time. Let's get this going.
At this point, I'm just hoping to do better than last time.
And we're going to try and make this as fast as possible because obviously, you know, we're running out of time.
Time flies when you're having fun.
All right. We're going to go with number 1. The polo white color was last used in this year. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm going to go 93. Was it 93? I know it was a C. I'm pretty sure it was a C4.
Okay. What was the first year to have 2 separate hoods? The smooth small block hood and the bulge of the big block hood.
65.
Between what years was the coupe's rear window removable for more of a true convertible experience? From what year to what year? So you could remove the rear window of the coupe to make it feel like when you took the T-tops off or whatever, you know, that it would be more of like a convertible experience.
Yes. And you said you need the break.
From what year to what year?
Oh shit.
Come on.
Okay. All right.
Just guess.
68 to 74.
Okay. All right. Pewter silver was only offered as an exterior color in what year?
Pewter?
Yep. Pewter silver.
78.
Okay. What year did cross flags return to the nose and the sides of the Corvette? Beep, beep, beep. Time's up. What year?
You said the nose and the sides?
And the sides. It returned to the nose and the sides.
Oh, 93.
Okay. What year was the first year for keyless access and engine startup in the Corvette?
So both?
Both.
So remote start.
So just remote start is really what you're going for.
Remote start. That's going to be
year.
2014.
The first year of remote start, okay?
Yeah, 2014.
What year was the first 200 mile an hour plus production Corvette ever made?
Officially, it was 2009.
What year was Carlisle Blue added to the Corvette lineup?
2012.
What year was the first ever titanium exhaust for the Corvette, and which Corvette did they use it on?
2001 Z06.
And what was the only year you could buy a Corvette without an engine installed by the factory? Yeah, that one's not going to be easy.
That was tricky. Wasn't that 63? Because they had the 327s? And...
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mark, come in.
They stay here?
Yeah, you can stay.
All right.
Just go get him real quick, because I don't know if he
Oh.
heard me.
Oh, at least we know he's not on the door. Listen.
It sounded like he's coming,
Come on, Mark.
but just making sure. All right. All right, Mark. Here we go. We might go a little long tonight.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to rip these answers off easy. This is going to be easy. Come on.
All
What do
right.
we got?
The polo white color was last used in what year?
The polo white color.
Yep, polo white.
That's a C1 color, obviously. I'd say 55.
Okay. What was the first year to have two separate hoods, the smooth small block hood and the big bulge of the big block hood?
65.
Between what years was the coupe's rear window removable for a more of a true convertible experience?
Oh, the removal. That's this first year.
From what year to what year?
Yeah, it was the C3 years, 68 to 72.
Okay.
That I
Pewter
know.
silver was only offered as an exterior color in...
Pewter silver.
Yep.
It's an early C3 car. I'd say 72.
Okay. What year did cross flags return to the nose and sides of the Corvette? Both the nose and the sides.
The nose and the sides return.
Returned. No, what year did they return to the nose and the sides? Pick a year.
84. I
Okay.
don't know.
What year was the first year for keyless access with remote startup?
Remote start.
Yep. What was the first year?
2006.
Okay. What year was the first 200 plus mile per hour production Corvette ever made?
That was 2009.
Okay. What year was Carlisle Blue added to the Corvette lineup?
2013.
Okay. What year was the first ever titanium exhaust for the Corvette, and which Corvette did they use it on?
The titanium exhaust.
Yep.
Full question again.
What year was the first ever titanium exhaust on a Corvette, and which Corvette did they use it on?
The 90 ZR1 maybe, I guess.
Okay. What was the only year you could buy a Corvette without an engine installed by the factory?
I'd say one of those special editions, those maybe 87.
Okay. All right. So, the first question you guys both got wrong. It was 1957. Was the Polo White.
The polo white.
You
Okay.
could get what did Rob answer?
I don't remember, but we don't have time
What
to
did
go.
you say?
I
55?
said a C4.
Oh, gee.
The separate hood, you guys both got right with 65.
Mm-hmm.
The rear window removable, you got correct, was 68 through 72.
Oh, I went too far.
The pewter silver, you got correct, was 72.
Uh-huh.
What year did the cross flags return to the sides? You guys both got wrong. 77 was the year. What year
I
for
was
the
thinking
first
of that.
keyless access and engine startup was actually 2005 for a C6.
They didn't have remote start in 05.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it said on the question. I'm just
That is the first year of the C6, right?
It is the first year of the C6.
And I misspoke. I meant to say 05 because that would have been the first
What year was the first 200-mile-an-hour production Corvette? It was 2009. It was the ZR1. You guys both got that right. Carlisle Blue was added in 12, so you got that one wrong. He got that one right. What year was the first ever titanium exhaust? You got incorrect. He got correct. It was the 2001 Z06. And what year was the only year you could buy a Corvette without an engine installed at the factory? You got it right, 1987.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 answered correctly by Robert, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You won this time. You got Robert by 1. You got 4 right. You got 5 right.
I missed the
So Mark's the
window
winner.
thing. I missed it by a year. I said 73
I
instead
know.
of 72.
Yeah.
I missed
I
it
know
by
you
a
did.
year. But I want to call an audible because they did not have remote start on Corvette until 2014. You could get one added to a C6,
Okay.
but you could not from factory. They came stock with the remote start only in 2014. The click key thing, yes, but if you go back, they had remotes in the C4 going all the way back to 92.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the
so
remote start.
I guess sometimes I'm going to have to
Or 91,
double check
93,
these.
excuse me.
What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to double check these online and make sure that this website that I'm on isn't incorrect on some of these questions. Because this isn't the first one. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, there was one that people said was incorrect as well. So,
Yeah.
But good job, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you-
Mark. In the meantime, officially, Mark takes this one.
Yeah, officially, Mark is the champion.
Supercar
tonight.
Ranch. Did I say that? Because in my head, it's 2014. So if I said 2024, that's one of
No,
those.
you said 14.
I did? Okay, all right.
So-
okay.
All right, let's get to the main subject. We now know why we're saying goodbye to Zora and hello to the ZR1X. And now we know why the Zora name was scrapped. So that is all taken care of. But how does the ZR1X compare to the E-Ray and the ZR1? I would say that it compares to the E-Ray just because it has the front motor. It's a hybrid. I really liked and by the way, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and show some photos. But I really, really liked that GM showed the ZR1X on one of their videos in full electric mode. So you heard that same noise,
That noise.
from the E-Ray on the ZR1X. That's cool. As far as the ZR1, obviously it compares to that because it's got the LT7. So we've got 1,064 horsepower in the rear and then another 186 up front. It's absolutely mind-blowing that we have these Corvettes today.
Hypercars.
I mean, seriously, who would have thought that GM would have outdone themselves so much over the C7ZR1 with 755 horsepower? That already blew all of our minds that car came out.
Jay Leno said, "Man, I'm going to buy this car because they're not going to ever top that. They're not topping that. I'm buying that ZR1 from 2008, 9, the first year.
No, the ZR1 from 2009 was 638 horsepower.
So he bought that, saying in his interview says
that they thought
they're
they were
not
gonna top
topping that. That's the end of the car. I mean, that's we're in the golden age.
Right.
Now they almost doubled it. Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So real quick, stopping on this picture, I just love this picture because of the fact that you see
The
different color stripes
and the two-faced seats.
that go with the different color seats.
Oh my God, that's
I
great.
love it.
Oh wow!
Isn't that amazing?
About that, yeah. It's got the red on the driver's side.
Yes.
Isn't
that beautiful?
Okay, so is that like an accident?
I love it. I think it's cool. Now, some people are going to be obsessive compulsive in the regard, like, no, we can't.
No, but do you think that was by accident? Like they looked at it
No.
one day and went, "Oh, we have that dual stripe."
No, they're doing this on purpose because look, the red seat on the right side and the black seat on the left side, and on the black seat you've got red stitching, and on the black stripe you've got the red outline. So it's perfect.
Hey, Ron Jackson. No, to be fair, you got to remember, your Stingray options go from 68,000 all the way up to 130,000 options.
Yeah.
No, Stingray is still the best supercar buy on the planet. No questions asked. For the money.
Absolutely.
And that includes, and I don't bias, but that includes in the used market because right now you can get me with these used discounted ones. I mean, the money value is, oh my God,
it's crazy.
Close.
Yeah. Trust me, if you drive a C7 right now or below and you step into a C8 and drive it, it's like night and day, guys.
No, you got to drive
It is
them.
night and day. It's ridiculous how much better the C8 feels. And I owned a C7 Z06, and I loved that car. But I love the C8 better. It is just that much better. Okay, moving on. Look at what we have here. I didn't realize until I saw this picture that they had the ZR1X out at COTA as well. So I'm hoping that maybe one of the engineers got in that car and did a really fast lap time at COTA in the ZR1X. It would be really cool to hear, a low time at COTA in that car. This is a great picture. I really like the blade silver with the blue calipers and the blue interior.
That's the new silver color that they brought back. Was it blade?
Correct. Blade silver,
Blade?
yeah.
Okay.
And this is your low drag strip car. So this right here, you take this to the drag strip, you're probably going to hit the 8s. We already know it's stock going to hit 8s, which is just unbelievable to think that we have a Corvette now that hits the 8s. But you know what? I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I called it a long time ago. If they came out with a car that was all-wheel drive above the ZR1, it was going to hit 8s. And that's exactly what it's done. So I love it.
In 4 seconds, I'd be blacked out from the G-forces. Sorry.
From the braking, it sounds like you're going to be even more blacked out.
Yeah.
This is another great picture. Absolutely beautiful Sebring orange, and then that same blade silver. Just a beautiful, beautiful set of cars here. I love the background of it. This is the golden age of Vette.
It is cracking me up that, again, with Sebring Orange being resurrected, you're going to have somebody that's going to have the Sebring Orange Design Package 19 and one of these next to each other. They're going to, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, I love that interior.
Guys, this brand new blue interior is just ridiculous. I already loved the Tension Twilight blue interior, but this new one, I can't think of the name of it right now, is just even better in my opinion.
Yeah,
because now you're getting
know the
black
name of
and blue.
If you remember what I said at Carlisle last year, when the prototype car, they had the black one with the blue wheels and the blue stripes. I said I would add blue calipers and then a blue interior. That would be it.
That's it.
That's it. That would be the interior. That'd be my spec. That would be my perfect spec.
And what's cool is it matches the blue of the LED display, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The blue of the
subtle.
LED display is like...
Yep.
And it's not as bright as Tension blue, so it's kind of, but it's a little bit brighter than that Twilight blue, which looks kind of black. That one
it's a different shade of blue.
Yeah, it's subtle. You know what it is? It's like the 60th anniversary blue, a little bit bolder like that. Remember that? The 60th anniversary blue is kind of like that.
I'd have to see it. Oh, yeah. I think it's a little brighter than that.
Yes, a little bit more, but it's close.
Similar. Yeah.
Okay,
so this is your interior of that black Vette that we showed you.
Santorini blue.
The
Santorini
that's
blue.
correct.
Thank you, Keith.
Yep.
Keith's to the rescue.
So check it out. This is the red seat and the black seat with the red stitching. What a beautiful contrast that is.
And
I love it.
One's a comp seat, one's a GT2.
Yeah. Love it. This is a gorgeous picture. I don't think it gets any better than an overview of that split window.
Yeah.
Because you got these louvers here, and then you have the side louvers. This whole area now just looks even more exotic. It really reminds me of an Aventador, because that Aventador in the back here has like glass louvers. These aren't glass, but it's very similar.
I had louvers on my 79 Trans Am.
Not only that,
Oh, yeah.
not only that, look at that thing. I mean, when they say, "Oh, it's not different enough from the Stingray," what are you talking about? Look at that thing.
Oh, it's totally.
There's nothing conservative about that at all.
Yeah.
It's like a creature from the...
It's crazy.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
obnoxious. It's
Yeah.
great.
Here we have the Sebring orange and the silver again. I really need to show these too. Let me just throw these in there because...
What's the silver again? It's the Sebring orange and the blade silver, right?
It's the blade silver, yeah. There's that blade silver again. Look at that view. It's unbelievable, man.
Now that still shows the camera on top of the rear deck, huh?
Yeah, it's got the option.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about that new camera because there's a new camera down by the backup camera now.
Thanks, Anthony Jorge.
So I'm kind of confused because they say that this rear view camera mirror is completely blocked by the high wing. So they've moved. Maybe it's only on high wing cars. I don't know.
Only on high wing cars they put the camera down by
Maybe.
the license plate.
Well,
Maybe.
that may make sense because, convertibles always got the camera and the coupes only got it if you had the 2LT trim. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it changes up based on the wing design.
Yeah.
Is that the hardtop convertible? That's not the hardtop convertible, is it? No.
No,
It's got
that's the
split
coupe.
window.
It's got the split window. So it's the
Split
coupe.
window, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe they only have hidden, the camera's only moved on the HTC
I mean, look at
with
that.
the high wing.
Oh, now see,
Maybe. Well, there you go. I mean, but it's underneath if
Yeah,
it
you
was
can't
on
see
there.
it, but
So.
look
now
at
see,
that.
I love the orange with the gray.
Oh, I do
And
too.
I got a Stingray on the floor right now with that combo, and I think it's great looking.
Yeah, I do
think
too.
it looks exotic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And with the silver wheels, I think that's the contrast. I think that's a great look.
Look at that.
And
Look at the top now.
Oh, my God.
Look at this.
I want to
Red.
put a red stripe now on my 70th anniversary. I need a
You
red
should get
stripe
the new red stripe. You should get this new one only.
on one side of the car.
Well, no, you should just do the dual.
Do the dual.
Actually, you already have stripes, right?
Yeah, I have the satin black.
Oh, you-
So.
I think this stripe right here would look fantastic, and that would even look fantastic with the red outline.
With the red out.
Well, here,
Yeah.
you want to get crazy here. Instead of having, you get a little bit of white in there, you got a Harley Quinn car.
True.
Wow.
I call her Harley Quinn.
And there's the J59 brakes, guys.
Yeah.
With the,
Look how tight that is in there. It's just,
Yeah.
I wonder if they have them both next to each other at Carlisle. I want to try sticking my pinky in there, see if the gap's big, if it's like they really closed it in there.
16.5-inch brakes.
Well, that's what I
Rotors.
mean. It's probably,
Yeah.
you stick your hand in there and feel that gap. I wonder if it's going to be even, how much tighter.
I'll go ahead and let you guys see this video too. You're probably not going to be able to hear it, but it's really cool.
B-roll.
Yeah, it's the B-roll footage. While that's going, maybe this will download.
Anthony George, I wouldn't see why not. Why would they even if you had to do a color override option, why not?
This is a cool video.
A blue seat with an orange seat.
Hey John, if Conti said that, he's probably right. The man knows his stuff. He's good.
Wow.
So anyway, while this video is playing, let's go over the last things. We know the performance specs already. We've talked about them, but pricing rumors out there. What do you guys think?
What's the base of the 01?
175, but we know that's going up for 26. So you got to imagine at least 10 grand. Let's just say 185.
For the
So the
it's going
base
up?
of
Okay.
this, what are we thinking the base of this is going to be? I'm thinking 20 grand at the least. More than the ZR1. What do you guys think?
How much is the E-Ray over the Stingray?
It's 106 as opposed to 70, so 36,000.
I'm just gonna say it's gonna be at least 240 up.
You think it's going to start at 240?
Yeah.
Base
Because
at
of the
240?
electric motor costs, I think it's going to probably start at 240. Then if you max loaded, probably up to 300.
So
Wow.
That's going to be my.
So that's
guess.
120 more. Rob, you're saying
No,
for the
no, no, no.
01? Then
No,
the
he's talking about from the
01X to the
01.
01.
No,
No,
I'm
that's
talking
not
about.
120,
I'm talking
that's-
about a minimal base 01X.
That's 55,000.
Will be
Okay.
around 240, and then if you max load it with everything, it'll go all the way up to 300. That's my guess.
See, I don't know if I agree with that. I think the max load will maybe hit 260, 270. I think we're only going to
What's the
see
base?
a 20 to 30K increase.
So you say
let's just say 30.
So the 01 base you say would be 185. We're thinking so 95,
So
05,
215.
so 215. You think
Yeah,
is the
I
new
think
base?
215 is going to be the max that we're going to see, which is still way up there. You know, way up there.
Dwayne saying 209.
Personally, Mike, I hope you're right, because if they were able to accomplish all this and still keep it under 300, that's so insane when you think about that.
Okay.
Nothing touches it.
No, nothing touches it.
Nothing.
No.
I mean, it's just
Absolutely.
Keith is thinking 2059.
Okay.
Corvette blogger.
Okay, I can see that, Keith. I can definitely see that. I'm
I
going to
mean-
load the photos that you sent me of the green one so that I can show people the difference between under the lights and not under the lights. I totally forgot to put these on there. But let me get these pulled up for you guys. So,
That's the Roswell green. Wow.
yeah. So check this out, guys. It looks to me absolutely phenomenal under the lights. And I love the yellow calipers on there.
Yeah.
It really goes well.
That looks a lot different than the Frogger we saw.
It does. So
yeah.
check this out. So under the lights, if you could have it look like this 24/7,
That looks like a wrap almost. That's the color.
It's
Wow,
gorgeous.
that's great.
yeah.
okay? So I wouldn't complain at all if it looked like that at all times. But
Yeah.
wait for it. Wait for it.
Whoa. That's the same
Yeah,
car?
it's
That's
got
the same car, but it's not under lights. It's on a cloudy day.
Wow, it's kind of dark, isn't it?
It goes, that's almost like the C5s. It looks like almost like the C5s green that they had that in 98, 99. Went out the light, but then you get it out in the light
Sun
light.
or the light
it
light.
looks like one of those early 70s greens with them
Yeah.
flake in it, you know.
It just doesn't, I'm telling you,
Huh, that's interesting.
if you're willing to go with that when it's not sunny out, I mean,
It's still cool looking,
That's-
though. I mean, it's green. I mean, you know, again, it's.
but compared to that,
I know, but again, that's the whole
That's
point. It's going to be a
fluorescent lighting.
highlighter.
That's
I
under
know.
fluorescent.
Look, night race blue looks black at night. You know, I mean, it's you got
Yeah.
to get it out in the sun. It pops like one of the most gorgeous blues you can get.
My 70th black just looks totally different when that sun comes out behind
Look-
the cloud. It changes the
Look,
look
GM,
of it. So-
look, just come on. Just give us a limited edition highlighter green that'll put this to rest and a highlighter purple. That's all we need. Look, I like Hysteria and I like this green. I think this is great. But come on, just make that little step. Come on.
so Philly Phil has a green and he calls it the X-ray. That's awesome. That's great. Hey, I still think it's a great color. I just wish it looked better when it wasn't in the sun. But then again, you know, the Amplify Orange wasn't the greatest looking outside of the sun, but it looked phenomenal in the sun and under fluorescent lights. So I guess you can say the same for that. Last question. There's a couple more, but last question. How many will they build? I really think that GM kind of showed us maybe
10.
the answer to that with the ZR1 first year of only, what, 302? Am I correct? 302?
just over
But
300, yeah.
Just a hair over 300.
The ZR1X is probably going to be around that or less, I would think.
Really? For 2026? You don't
I
think
think,
they'll make
yeah.
300 total?
I think.
And
I
think
mean,
about and anybody getting the 25. There's a couple colors you not going to get for 26 either.
And James Grimm says 3,000 total over time.
How much
Yeah,
time is
I
that?
wouldn't doubt it. I mean, if you really want this to be a hypercar and more exotic than any other Corvette ever, they're going to have to limit the sales on this thing to maybe 3,000 over the span of like 4 years. So 26, 27, 28, 29. You know, but we'll see. We shall see.
So maybe 1,000 a year if you do it that way.
Yeah,
or maybe
but you know,
4,000.
but again, remember,
maybe.
Corvette is still the everyman car. It'll be the everyman's hypercar, even if you want to call it, you know, a small house.
Yeah, you're right. We'll see what Chevy decides to do. Right now, though, I'm looking at what happened with the ZR1, and hopefully it doesn't happen with the ZR1X. I hope that they get all their ducks in a row and they don't let this
All
happen
their wings
again.
in a row.
Yeah.
All their high wings.
Yeah, because this is just, it's going to be nonsense if that car comes out to purchase and then we have problems again. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and end this. I understand that we can't really base, real quick, Keith said you can't base it off of ZR1. I understand, but I'm basing it off of what I said as far as keeping it exotic and a little less dime a dozen as what most folks say about Corvettes. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we will see it do very well, and hopefully a lot of people get to order that car and own it pretty quickly. So anyway, I hope each and every one of you had a good night tonight on the live. Hopefully you guys liked the trivia. It will get better and better as we go, I promise. I'm still going to make a decision about the lives. With all of the issues that we've had recently, there might be a change up where we do more of like a recorded,
taped version of it.
Yeah, a taped version, and then I'll do a premiere of that recorded version. That way you guys can still be in the chat over here and we can still chat with you. We won't be here live talking to you, but we can still chat in the chat box. So
live chatting.
Yeah, live chat. So I may have to go to that because I don't want these screw ups anymore. And actually, the production value will get a lot better for you guys if I can record it beforehand and put it out, because I'll be able to edit it exactly the way that I want it. So we'll see what happens. I just can't stand these interruptions that we're having. So I'll make a decision and get back to you guys next time on that. So please smash the thumbs up button on your way out. Smash the red subscribe button. I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the next